and we're tracking for 150 grand paid from November. What's the date to February? Is it
I
February
think
1st?
we did last week, October through February 1st.
So 3 months, 90 days, 150 grand. And he's just using and implementing all the things I teach. What's up, y'all? Hope all's good. Can y'all, I assume y'all can hear me? Someone give me a thumbs up. Tell me yes, please. Cool. Thank you. What's up, Andy? Good to see you, bro. Good to see a ton of y'all. Cool. Want to run through some stuff today. Gonna go through like this is one of those times a year where like everybody has goals and desires and dreams of what they're gonna do next year on their mind. Um, some of y'all have already started that process for sure. Certainly, there's people on here I work with pretty regularly. But I know this time of year is funny. I remember back when I was new at this time of year was super frustrating, and some of y'all might could relate. In the sense that it's like holidays, and there's all these times you want to spend with family and enjoy the times, but you're broke as shit. So when you're home, it's like frustrating. You don't get to like be in the moment. I don't know if any of y'all relate to that. I assume some of y'all get that wasn't just me. But I know early on, I struggled with trying to figure out like, how do I not feel like this every day? Because I hated it. Um, and this time of year is one of those where I've always done goals. I'm gonna give you guys some kind of ways that I've done it. I'm gonna go through quite a few things. I have a list of a few things, and I will open up for a Q&A at the end if people have some questions. Certainly, if you want to type any along the way, I'll look at them, and if they make sense during the talk, I might interject or add things to them. But if you want to ask some questions live, I'll open it up for a few people towards the end. Um, any of y'all? How many of y'all like? I can't see how many are on here. There's like 60 on so far. A bunch of, as usual, a bunch of. I think we have like 180 registered. How many put like a one in the chat if you've read my book? Curious how many of y'all have actually read it that are here or even know I have it. Cool. A bunch of y'all. I love it. So there's a couple of pages in here, and those that haven't, we'll talk about it. If you can, I don't know how well y'all can see this page. It's on page 73 of the book. There's a schedule that I put together. And then on page 192, I don't know how well with the glare it shows, but there's like a goals exercise. And I've done these exercises for 12 years. And those of you that are building, because I do know some of y'all in here are building teams and doing really well at it. This is something I highly recommend you do with all your agents this time of year as well. It's a really good time to reconnect with people. If you're building, touch base, see where people are at, give direction. And those of you that are trying to make changes, like it's like certainly jump on the bandwagon of New Year's resolutions, if you will, and goals. But don't be that guy that quits on, January 3rd. And this can be a funny time of year for those of us trying to help people. If I talk to 10 people, all 10 want to win and do better and improve in their sales or improve in their income or do better for their family. But it's wild. Like as many people as I work with, at least 9, if I could say 9.8 out of 10 don't execute on the things they say they're going to change. And I talk about it a lot. A sign I keep in my office. That I reference often. I think that's in here too. Ain't that in the book too, Amanda? I think I put that sign in here somewhere too. Might show it. Hold on, let me find it live just for shits. Unless Amanda will probably find it before me. It's the change quote that's in here somewhere. Basically, it says, do you hate to lose so much you're willing to change? Or do you hate change so much you're willing to lose? And I'm going to go through this goal thing. One of the things we're going to do, my team is going to email you guys at the end. There's a couple exercises. If you've read the book, it gives you a link to download some like worksheets where you can actually, there's an exercise you can do. It's free. You just download it, do the exercise. There's a video attached with it as well for each exercise that explains how I did it. I give some examples. I don't know how long the videos are. Reese or Amanda could probably say, but they're short, 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. Everybody that's attended, we're going to email it to you guys after. Some of y'all have the book, some don't. Those that do, certainly appreciate you buying it, reading it. And my question is, have you done the exercise? And if you have done the exercise, have you actually done anything with it? And it's wild how few people actually do something with it. People tend to write down goals and then just sort of put them in a drawer and forget about them. Whereas I look at goals as something I chase every day, and I think it's funny, like with goals, people tend to have like a result driven goal. I want to make X amount of money. I want to have X amount of agents. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. I want to donate this. I want to be able to accomplish it, whatever it is. But where the exercise works really well, if you do it right, is part of the goals. And one of the things that I like to add is like, what do I got to do every day to hit those goals? Like, what are the actual functional daily items I need to put in place in order to hit the goal? Where most people go, I want to make 250 grand. And then they do the same shit every day. Next year is this year. And at the end of the year, they go, damn, I missed my goal. Or I'm like, if you put 250 grand as a goal, if you're not making that, and then you figure out what you need to do day in and day out to hit that goal, kind of reverse engineer it, you know, if you're not making that now when you run X amount of appointments or make X amount of presentations, it's relatively simple to realize how many more you have to make in order to just take basic math. Certainly there's some skill set stuff we could add. But part of the goals for me is, all right, if I have to run, when I did it, in-home sales, kitchen table, like face-to-face sales, in order for me to hit the income goal I wanted, I had to present to 120 people a month, which meant I had to do 30 a week, which meant every day in the field that I was in, I had to do 10 to 12 a day. So every day I was chasing the end result by implementing the activity goal. So I don't just have a result driven goal, I have activity goals as well. That's where a lot of people miss. It's like, I don't know, y'all ever seen one of those shows or understand like when people go dig for gold? Any y'all ever seen that? Gold Rush, I think it's called. I used to watch that a while back. But even if you just understand the basic concept of digging for gold, like everyone in here is like, dude, I would love giant rocks of gold that I could cash in for whatever, $4,000 an ounce or whatever the hell you get for gold these days. But think about everything that goes into even being able to dig for gold, right? Like they have to scout land first, right? Then when they find the land, they have to do like tests on it. And then if they decide that's a piece of land they want to buy, they have to acquire the land. And then once they acquire the land, they have to clear the land, clear out the trees, like bring in all the equipment, clear out all the trees. Then they have to start digging. And if you've ever seen it, there's like, I'm not that smart with the right words, but there's layers to the fucking earth. And at certain levels is where gold is. There's a name for it. And they have to spend all this time digging, right? And then at the very end, they get to the point where there might be gold. And then they have to run it through all this equipment. Pay dirt. There you go. I like it. And I think there's an official name for it. But yes, Patrick, that's the one. And then they have to run it through this equipment that kind of shakes it out. And the dirt, like the gold, like floats to the bottom or rises to the top, whatever it is. And then they look at the end and they're like, oh shit, I have gold. Like they don't just get to go like grab chunks of gold. And it's the same thing here for y'all. Like you want to make 250 grand. You don't get to just like roll out of bed tomorrow and make 250 grand. You have to do all the groundwork to get there. You have to do all the prep. You have to do the study. You have to work on your sales skills. You have to trial and error. You have to make mistakes. You start digging for gold. Sometimes you dig for one, you hit nothing. And then you got to go to a new spot and dig again. It's like, oh shit, we got one. And a lot of times it is dust. It's rare they find big chunks, but it's like, there's a process to it. And there's also a process to getting rich, and the mistake I see working with as many agents as I have over the years is most people aren't willing to go through the process. And they feel like day in and day out, when things don't go perfect, that's not how it's supposed to go. Like, I don't know if you see some of the people that are making money and you think every day goes perfect. Because if you do, you're like sorely mistaken. In fact, most of the people killing it are having more bad days than you. And they get more cancellations and no-shows and chargebacks and agents that quit them. And there's more of the stuff you hate when you're poor. When you're making money, there's actually more of the crap you hate. It happens more often. So part of the process of this getting to a new level is building the mindset to where you believe that you can get there based on the activity. But if you ever think the negative side, it's like another example is I talk about Maddox playing baseball all the time. He's 13. He's in off-season training right now. They're doing a lot of like weights and trying to build muscle on these little scrawny ass kids. But during the year, or even last night, we were at practice last night, and they were doing this exercise where they're swinging this heavy bat, just trying to increase their strength, swinging a bat. And it was the exercise was just swing the bat and get it back as fast as you can and swing it again. And they were pitching the ball like high speed. The exercise was not hit a home run, hit a perfect ball. It was literally just swing, get set again, swing again. There's how many times can you swing? And they had a weighted bat, a way heavier bat than they would use in a game. And Maddox was getting frustrated that he wasn't hitting the ball perfect. And I'm like, dude, the point of this exercise is not to hit the ball. I know you want to hit the ball, and I know that's the goal ultimately. But in this exercise, it's literally swing the bat, get it back, keep your balance, swing again fast as you can. That's what the coach said. Coach didn't say hit it perfect. He's like, I don't even care if you hit the ball, And a lot of times it's like, y'all, I'm like, can we make more phone calls? Can we present to more people? I know you want to close deals. I got it. I know you want to recruit more people and get them paid and get started and have a big team. But are we doing the little things every day that build the muscle to get you the strength to be able to deal with all the stuff that you so desire? And so as we start going through these exercises, again, my team's gonna email out the exercise goal. But in short, it's literally building out a schedule day by day based on your goals, what goals you have, literally the things you have to add to your life to hit those goals, and the things you have to remove from your life in order to add the new things. It's a really powerful exercise that I've used with thousands of agents over the years. And it's what I put in place for myself to go from, again, as many of y'all read the book, I went from literally terrible at this 2-3 years in and making no money to realizing, like, dude, I control a lot more of this than I thought. And with me, it was heavy activity based and learning that every rep actually pays you guys. And that's a piece you guys miss. Like, when you miss a sale, in your head, you don't get paid. But in my head, every time I make a phone call, I get paid. Every time I present, I get paid. I don't care if they say yes or no. If they paid or didn't pay. If they get approved, don't get approved. If they cancel, don't cancel. I look at it as averages. And kind of where I was going back to with Maddox, with the baseball thing, like I swear he still thinks some days he's going to get so good, he never strikes out. And he gets a hit every time. Like that's his desire right now. He just wants to get a hit every time he's at. In fact, he probably wants to hit a home run every time he gets up to the plate. And a lot of y'all look at this business this way. And it's this weird balance where you have to have some confidence. I'm going to share this video. Let me see. You said I go to Chrome, right, Reese? Here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear this. If you're in sales and you're trying to figure out how to get effing paid and stop getting so many objections, register now for my 2-day workshop here in Atlanta, Georgia, February 27th, 28th. We're going to have some special guest speakers. There's an exclusive mastermind for VIP ticket holders. For those that just want to attend the event, you can. There's a very low entry to get into it. We'll be going over everything you need for sales, objections, scripts, role-playing, everything you need to build a business, scale a business, staffing, automations, everything I've learned in the last decade plus, building what I've built. Of course, we've had a lot of help, so we'll be going over how to scale it, how to structure it, everything you need to get to the next level. Click on the link, register below. We'll see you there when I play it. I'm going to hit play, and then I might rewind it.
At what point did you realize?
Do y'all hear the audio to that?
In that state, was it the first through second?
All right, hold on. Let me run this. I want you to listen to this. This is from last night. This dude on the Lakers. I don't really watch a lot of sports, but I came across this last night. And this, if any of y'all watch sports or sports, I know you probably saw this dude today. He scored like, I don't know, 37, 38 points, something like that for the Lakers. Young kid, scored like 20 something straight points for the Lakers, like lit up whatever team they were playing. Bunch of 3-point shots, and just kind of sort of came out of nowhere. But I like the way, listen to the question asked and the way he answers it.
At what point did you realize that you were in that state? Was it the first through second three? At what point were you just like, yeah, I'm locked in?
The first shot. Every time I see one go in, I think the next one's always going in. Even if I miss it, I always have the confidence that my next shot's going in. My dad always told me that, so that's just my confidence.
And just a simple concept of like every shot he takes, he thinks going in. Well, I know a lot of y'all that do this, you feel like, oh, shit, hold on, let me pause it. You feel like every call you make, it's gonna go negative. Every appointment you run to is gonna be a no sale. Every client that calls you, they're calling to cancel. And you think in a very negative way traditionally. And although it's this weird expectation of knowing you're not going to close everybody, but when you go into it with a confidence level, your tone is different, your behavior is different, the way you speak is different, the way you come off is different. And guys like this have that level of confidence because they've put in so much work to be really good at who they are and what they do. They know that a majority of the time, if they put in the reps, ultimately they're going to win. And that's where you can get to a point in this business, or any really, is when you put in the work and you're confident in who you are and what you sell and how to handle objections and all that stuff. This business is so predictable. It's insane. I had a guy I have some coaching clients that I work with that look for help from me directly one-on-one and stuff. And one of the guys was like, if you went out and sold today, I haven't sold in 7 years. I sold a policy by mistake for like $4,000 the other day. And it was like, took me like 20 minutes. And I was posting it in a little group chat we're in and giving people a little bit of crap. And he called and he goes, if you went back in the field today, how much do you think you would sell? I'm like, dude, you know how easy it would be to sell 10 grand a week at this stage, like knowing what I know today. And he was like, how do you have that confidence? I'm like, dude, I've done this so much. It's just people, it's communication, and it's numbers, and there's this weird balance where some of y'all want the confidence and the knowledge before you put in the reps. And this dude only has the confidence, this Lakers guy only has the confidence because he sat in the gym at 5 a.m. for years and years and years and years through middle school and high school and college, taking shots. And he studied playbook and he studied other players and he studied how the game works. And it's like there's so many reps behind the scenes, and it's like, are y'all putting in those reps behind the scenes to learn your product, to learn how to handle objections, to learn the questions to ask clients that get you the best result, to learn how to have the right approach with people, to learn how to control your emotions when things don't go your way? It's like you get emotional. Anybody like admit that you get emotional when you get told no or hung up on or yelled at or canceled or frustrated when the leads don't have the right phone number or all the stuff? It's like Maddox expecting not to strike out again. He gets so mad, and I'm like, I'm weirdly happy you're mad because it means you care. But why do you drag the mad out so long and let it affect everything else? It's because your expectations are off. Like you can't feel like this is going to ever be anything but a lot of no's to get to yeses, a lot of digging of dirt before you get to gold, a lot of at bats before you start hitting home runs. Like that's just what it is, And so I am going to send you guys this exercise, the goals and stuff, but I really want you to grasp what it's going to take for you to hit them. One of the things we're going to do, if you guys do the exercise, there's again a couple worksheets you can print out. You can literally hand fill them out, and if you guys send them in, should they send them to email, Amanda? That JW one? Is that where I assume that's where we're going to have them go? I think I'm going to make an executive decision because I don't see you. Is that good?
That's good.
If you print yours out, actually do the exercise, send it in to jw@johnwetmore.com. We're going to review them. I'm going to do a call kind of like this with the people that actually do the exercise. And I'll pick a couple of you to just like go through a little bit more one-on-one with and see if we can fine tune some things. And those of y'all that are building, kind of watch how I do it. But I do want to help you guys win. So we're going to do something cool for those that fill it out and complete the exercise. So again, if you have the book, it's in there. If you haven't read it, I do know some people bought the book and it sits on a shelf still. So go through it if you already have the book. And again, we'll email out the info to you guys today. Those that do have the book, if you like it, which I assume most do, because I get really good feedback, we're going to do like a little giveaway. I have some merch. We're going to give some stuff away. If you post something, because we're trying to do my best to spread the word of the book and get the message out there. And the more of y'all that share it, certainly the more people that see what we've got going on over here. If you do a little post on social with the book, hey, I liked it. The book didn't suck. John's not an idiot. We love the book, and tag me in it. We're going to do a raffle and give away some free merch to some people that do it. Just tag me on social, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want, with the book. We'll share it certainly as well. And then my team's going to pick a few people and just send you some free stuff for helping get the word out there. So would appreciate that. Let's see. I'm going to get into some sales stuff. Let me see if there's any questions. I see some comments. Hold on one sec. I'll refer back to the quote he mentioned. Oh, yeah, there you go. 187 for the quote change. Thanks, Amanda. What's the name of the book? Can actually get it. It's Do More Now, Get Better Later, which the concept is pretty simple. It's literally kind of what I was explaining is most people want to get really good before they start doing stuff, which makes no sense in any capacity ever. Like, I want to get good at golf before I start golfing. I want to get good at Spanish before I start studying Spanish. It literally can't happen. But most people have this mental block. And I did too. Hence the name of the book. If you read the story, I had the same, I'm able to understand what y'all are going through because I struggle with the same thing. And I just made a very active decision to just reprioritize getting better with activity. Like, I wanted to get better and then I wanted to do work. And all I did was shift it and go, what if I just do a bunch of work and I worry about the getting better thing later? Literally just put it second. Like, don't quit trying to get better. It wasn't like, how many of y'all live significantly better lifestyle today than you did 12 months ago? I saw one hand, two hands. You know what I mean? It's like most people in 12 months stay the same. Something you're doing isn't working. And that's where I was. And I was tired of it. And so I decided to just go about it differently. I decided to accept who I was, accept my mediocrity in terms of close rate and how many I booked and all that stuff, all the stats we get frustrated by. I just decided to accept who I was and run with it and just do more of it than I was doing. And just accept that I closed 40% of people. Before I was trying to figure out how to close 90%. And I'm like, maybe that's not me. And who cares? You know? And that's like, again, baseball. Dude, some guys can hit 330 plus, 350, whatever their batting average is, 300 plus. Some guys hit 250 and they hit 50 home runs a year. Cool. Be the 50 home run a year guy. You know what I mean? There are guys that close high percentages. I just wasn't one, but I was letting that hold me back. And I decided to go like, well, if I only close 40%, but I'm only seeing 6 people a week, what if I close 40% and see 30 people a week? Won't my net result be bigger? And it worked. And I went from making no money to making $500,000 a year in 12 months. You know, and then continued to double and triple my income year after year because I started teaching the concept and started recruiting agents and just letting people not stress over excellence in result, but can we have excellence in the daily activity and the daily approach, you know, in the process of getting better. So again, if y'all post, tag me in it, we'll do some cool stuff for you guys. I'm going to get into some sales stuff real quick, and then I'll open up for Q&A in a little bit. Just some notes on sales. I might get deeper in some other stuff I do, but you know, where I see people miss is a few ways. I have 3 notes on sales. One, it's a saying we have internally. It's like, I talk about being intentional, but when I do it in my office, apparently my staff pointed out, Reese actually figured it out. He does all our content. So if you like the content we put out online, thank Reese. He's in here probably watching somewhere. I don't obviously do any of it but talk, and he makes our social look like it looks. And the rest of my team makes everything else look like it looks. I just show up and talk. I have a really good crew around me, but I always say, like, let's be stupid intentional. And I don't know why I say it, but it's like a thing I say, and I say it all the time, apparently. But in sales, like in your approach with people, are you being stupid intentional with everything you do? Or are you just kind of winging it? You know, when you sit down and present to a client, like, do you know your approach? Or are you just kind of like hoping it works out? You know, the questions you ask, are they so intentional you basically know the answer you're going to get? Or are you asking questions where if you get a yes or a no, either way, you know how to work with it in your favor? Or if you get a nose, it throw you for a loop. You know what I mean? It's like, are you stupid intentional with your questions? Most people aren't. And I had someone talk about it the other day. They're like, well, I don't know what questions to ask. Well, that says you don't study your craft at all, because there's tens of thousands of successful agents at every company any one of you works for has some of them, and they share all the stuff. There's no company that doesn't share. So if you don't know what questions to ask, it's because you don't study your craft. I can give you some, but they're not going to be magic, and they're not going to be any better than anybody else's teaching. But the level of intentionality that I learned to have in sales is what helped me. Now, I still had a lower close ratio even when I sold $500,000. But what I always just like 40% close ratio, sure, that's of the people I sat with or presented to. But I probably had a 90% close ratio of people I showed pricing to. Like if I showed you pricing, you were buying. Because I didn't get to pricing. Like I knew there was a sale long before I got to pricing. And some of y'all don't know if you're making a sale or not until like you got your fingers and your toes crossed after you give pricing, and you hope like hell they say yes. You know? And sometimes they say yes and you think you made a sale and you haven't figured out how to get a bank account or a social yet because you're too scared to ask for it. And then they say no after they said yes. Fair? Right? Is because you aren't intentional. I want to think about it. You're telling me you still don't see that coming 14 miles away? You can't feel that? They're giving you 900 clues along the way that they're going to tell you they want to think about it. But you're missing it. Why? Because you're not paying attention to detail. You're not intentional with your questions. Or when they give you answers that don't go perfect, you ignore them because you're uncomfortable at challenging people. Or you just go like, pretend I didn't hear that one. Let me ask the next question. You know? It's like, hey, what would you do if, you know, so-and-so died and you didn't have the coverage? Or if you, whatever, I don't know. Everybody sells different things that follow me at this point, you know, but whatever, everybody asks like, what would happen if, how would you handle this? What, you know, health insurance, Medicaid, all the stuff. There's all, it's sales 101. And if you don't get like, most people get a surface level answer and then they move on to the next question, you know? So I'm going to get into a little bit of it. Number one, in sales, especially if you're a lead driven salesperson, like if you're out straight up cold calling, slightly different approach. But especially a lead based sale, you should be extremely assumptive in all your questions. Meaning something as simple as most agents in the life side go like, so Bob, tell me why you filled out this form. It's a very, very, very poor question. Given the form says what it's for, it's really weird that you're asking why they filled it out. The form says what it is. Does that make sense? I don't care what you're selling. If they filled something out that said, yes, I have interest, and you ask why they filled it out, you sound very uneducated. And the client be like, did you read the form? It says, if I want my house paid for in the event of my death, fill this out. That's kind of what I want. You know what I mean? Like the form says, if you need your final expenses taken care of at the end of fill this out. So a better question is like, obviously you filled this out because you want to take care of your family, Steve. Can you give me an idea what would happen to Susan over there if you guys didn't have this coverage in place? That's a better quality question. You're assuming they need the insurance. Now you just want to understand what happens without it. Does that make sense? So all of your questions should be very assumptive. Hey, when we pick a plan today, after you pick the plan, we're going to put it in place. We'll see if you get approved. In a week or two, they'll mail you the policy. That's an assumptive statement. We don't go like, if you decide to go with something, Steve. No, that's not assumptive at all. That's hoping like hell they figure that they need something. It's like most sales agents go into this wondering if there's a need. If they're with you having a conversation about your product, they clearly have an interest in it. And if you assume they need it, your questions by default will be different. But most of your approach is where we don't assume they need it. We're wondering if they even want it. You know? So I'd say that's number one. Two, selling what your product does, not what it is. Meaning no one gives a shit that it's $100,000 for $80 a month, or, you know, the deductible is this instead of that. No one cares. They want to know when they walk into the doctor that they're not going to get hit up for a $200 bill every time they go when they thought it was covered, or that they have, you know, in the life insurance space, it's like they want to know that, you know, if Bob dies, he wants to make sure that Mary isn't going to lose the house due to foreclosure and have to move into her mom's basement. Like, they want to know what it does for them. And many inexperienced broke agents, myself included, sell what it is. It's this much insurance, and it's an A-rated carrier, and they've been around 142 years, and their brochure is glossy, and look at it here. And it's, you know what I mean? It's all these things you're selling that are really irrelevant, you know? And not that those things aren't somewhat important, but they're so far behind the first level of importance, they almost don't matter. Like, I never gave out brochures to carry. No, I gave nothing out in a sale, and I sold a shit ton. Not saying you don't have, you can't or shouldn't. I'm just telling you, they don't care about that. They care about taking care of their family, you know? And so in order to kind of sell what it does, how do we get there? You have to identify a problem. Like, your product should solve a problem. If you can't leave an appointment and explain to me in basic level English exactly what would happen to this client without your product, you did a really bad job asking questions. Like, you should be able to, like, think of, like, I always do it in reference of a movie, right? And the way I explain it is, I don't love movies. And if I go to the movie theater, I 98% of the time fall asleep. I don't make it through a full movie. The only movie I made it through in my recent memory is took my son to watch the most recent Minions movie this summer. And y'all see Minions? I don't know if I'm the only weird one, but I loved it. I laughed the entire movie. So I stayed awake for that one. But if, like, the wife and I go to a movie, I fall asleep 100% of the time. I never make it. But then at the end of the movie, I always want to hound the shit out of her and ask what happened. What happened to this guy? And what about that? And this guy was, like, hanging from a cliff. Did he die? Well, who killed him? Oh my God. And I want to know all this stuff. Well, she paid attention and she can explain it. Well, Steve went over here and he took the train over here and he was undercover, and she explains all the details. And what I want you to do is pretend I fell asleep during your presentation, and you have to explain to me what all happens to that family if they don't have your product. And if you can't do that, you didn't really use your product to solve anything. You know, it's being really curious. And if you're not doing that, all you're really trying to do is make a sale. You're just trying to shove a product down someone's throat for a commission, which works to some extent. You will make sales. But to sell at a really high level, those that sell the big numbers y'all see out there, they're solving problems all day long. And in order to solve problems, you have to identify problems. In order to identify problems, you have to ask really good questions. And there's no script. There's no magic script. You can have some generality. Certainly, again, every company has, like, ask these few questions, do a financial inventory, ask what happens if, paint me a picture, tell me a story. You can say those leading things to literally go, like, I don't understand. Paint me a picture what it would look like. You can literally ask that in every appointment. And they will go, like, oh, you want me to throw up details on you. And you just keep digging and you keep understanding. You don't have to be, like, obnoxious about it. But again, if you don't understand what your product's doing, you're just going to struggle in sales forever, you know? And this concept works on the building side as well. You start recruiting agents. If you know better what working with you solves for that agent. Now, I'm generalizing because there's, 80 something people on the call, and I'm hitting very common problems that everybody deals with just because I've done it a lot. But one-on-one with an agent, I'm asking them a lot of questions. Where are you at? Why are you getting into this? What does it look like for your family? And I want to understand where they're at in life and where they're trying to go, and how working with me can help solve those problems. That's why some of y'all are on here. You think I can help solve your world problems in this business, right? And I can if you execute. So it's like it's learning to have an understanding and really make sure that it's like I had to learn. It's this really wild dynamic when you're in sales mode, or even any really conversations, trying to close a deal or hire an agent or even do something like this. It's like being in the moment and running your appointment, say, but also being aware enough to watch your appointment simultaneously. And I don't know if that makes sense to people. One day when that clicked to me, like I also had to be the fly on the wall in my own appointments. I had to pay attention to like the body language and if they were tracking. Like I watch y'all and see if your heads are nodding. If not, like you're falling asleep, I'm doing a poor job. But people are in agreement a lot. I'm like, oh, I'm tracking with people. Like I'm paying attention to details. And I remember when I was really figuring this thing out from a sales standpoint, during the presentation, I had to pay attention to, are these people even tracking with me? Are they just yesing me to death? Are they, you know what I mean? Like I'm showing pricing. Are they getting nervous? You'll see people's like veins start popping out. Their knees, their legs will start shaking. They'll start tapping their foot. Like people, like most of y'all will ignore that. I'd be like, Steve, bro, you're going to put a hole in your floor. Is the pricing that unaffordable, bro? Dude, clients crack up with stuff like that and they appreciate it. But most of y'all are afraid to say something like that. If I'm talking to an agent, I'll be like, dude, you don't seem like you're tracking with me at all. Am I speaking incorrectly? Am I assuming wrong? Like, am I missing I'll slow down and stop and make sure we're on the same page. And so I had to learn how to kind of watch the appointment and watch how it was going from a very objective point of view also. So I could tweak things and be honest with myself versus just leave an appointment and go, they were broke. They didn't have the budget. They just, shit, the leads, man. They just, all these things we say when we leave. Whereas if you can leave and know where you lost them, like, man, dude, right before I showed pricing, I felt like they just weren't in and they just wanted, and I should have asked more questions. Damn, I missed it. Next appointment, you don't let that part go by without digging deeper. You show a certain product and at the end, the client doesn't fully understand it or absorb it, or they misunderstand it. An example, like when I used to sell a lot of older folks that wanted mortgage protection, I would sell them a lot of like whole life, a final expense product, buying time concept, mortgage payment protection, whatever y'all call it today. I would sell the snot out of that. And early on when I started doing it and started explaining like, hey, this will take care of, 12 months of mortgage payments, in the event of your death. At the end, early, the clients would always go, so I only have to pay for this for 12 months? And at first I'd be like, God, they were an idiot. But then I started realizing, dude, I must be doing such a poor job explaining it that they're all misunderstanding how it works. So I had to slow down and really start to emphasize the way that the product works for them and how it solves their issue. Again, that's just one example, but I'm sure you can think of many instances where repetitively people misunderstand something or don't quite get how it works or they aren't tracking quite. It's like, what did you miss that's happening so frequently? So you got to be able to watch that in the moment and then tweak it going forward. So let me see. Double and triple check equity protection concept. Amen, Brian. I'm not surprised with you. You've worked with me. Let's see. It's quiet in here. You all done? I'll be leaving in 1 minute unless I hear someone talking. What the hell is that? That was weird. That's like an otter AI. Well, interesting. What the hell? I thought that was someone being an asshole. I was like, damn. Oh Lord. All right. I'm gonna open it for questions first. I got some other stuff, but anybody have anything? I'm gonna take a breath and Amanda or Reese, can one of y'all bring me a drink? I forgot a water, please. And thank you. Love you. I don't have any down here. But if anybody has anything, just unmute. Feel free to ask. And
so, John, I've been noticing on some of my presentations here lately.
Let me find you. Who's this?
Okay, Brian.
Oh shit! I hear you. Okay. Oh yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. Yep.
Okay.
You. What up, dude?
On presentations here in the last few days, I get them to the point, and this is usually telesales, mortgage protection, or final expense, something like that, right? Right. You get them to the point, you ask the questions and stuff. They want it. They say it. Then all of a sudden, it's just a dead drop when it's like, okay, now we're going to, and I've already told them, hey, we're going to put this in place, that kind of thing. I know in person, that's going to be a lot
When you say a
easier
dead
of a
drop, what do you mean
read.
by that? Clarify that.
They just like, we're not going to do it. Like this
Yeah.
one last night, you know, the lady's the mortgage was $2,800 a month. The husband made supposedly 10 grand a month. You know, I didn't check it, and then her income was 1,300 a month.
Mhm.
And so it was there was a young couple, equity protections. They were like 47, like our age. The equity protection was very reasonable to get her to get 12.
Why did you go that
months
route?
Because
If you're
they
young.
weren't healthy. They weren't healthy enough to do term. Like they were heavy. They were past the build
Got it.
chart, and they had some health things that just kind of put them out
Did
of that.
you
right?
did you find that out after?
No,
Like,
before. Before.
So you knew up front?
Yes. And then we walked through your logic train with the equity protection.
Yeah.
They understood it, right?
Yeah.
And again, this happens, but it's just
So again, my question is like, what happens to her if he drops dead tomorrow? How bad is it for her?
well, they have to get their 6 kids Santa Claus, is what they said to me. And I'm
What's
like,
that mean? What's
they
that
have
mean?
to do Christmas for their 6 kids instead of getting the equity protection in place.
No,
Which-
my question is if they die without the coverage, what happens to her?
Oh, she can't do shit. And
What
they
does that
said
mean?
it.
What
Like
does that
she
mean,
can't
can't do
even
shit?
she can't even make the mortgage payment versus
Where do they
the
move?
6 kids.
Where would they
Right.
move? No,
Right.
I don't want. I know, right? I want to know where the answer is.
Yeah.
No, don't say yes. I want to know the answer. Where does she move?
She doesn't know.
She
And
doesn't know, or you don't know.
I actually didn't ask that question. now that I
Correct,
think
because you
about it.
stopped
Right.
at surface level, bro.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And
like, dude, you
no, it
had
does.
No, stop.
Right.
Hold on. Nothing else matters now
Right.
because you went down a path you shouldn't have gone down yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, we don't know,
Yeah.
dude. They're like priming you for an easy sale, and not in a
Right.
mean way, but like 6 kids, and they have to pick. That's their answer to you is I have to pick Christmas over that because you didn't do a good enough job finding out what happens without the
Sure.
coverage.
I
Does that
didn't,
make
I
sense?
didn't
So it's
push
like,
that pain point is what
yeah,
you're saying.
just like I pushed with you 3 times, and you gave me,
Right.
yeah, yep, right,
Uh-huh.
yep. Like, no, cut it
Okay.
out. What's the actual answer, dude? And they would
Mhm.
give you some bullshit. We don't know. What does that mean?
Right.
What do you mean you don't know? All right, let me
Mhm.
ask a better way, Brian. If you're the client, let me ask you a better way.
Uh-huh.
Mary, Brian drops dead right there on the kitchen table, on the kitchen floor
Right.
tomorrow night. You come home, there's blood on the floor, he's dead. Who's
Mhm.
the first person you call? And I shut my mouth.
Mhm.
They're going to tell me. First of all, they're going to get emotional as shit. Who do you call? And I wait.
Right.
It'll change the fucking air. You'll feel it change, dude.
Right. Right.
And they'll be like, probably my mom. Okay, what would you say? Clearly, besides he's dead. Now what? Well, how does it play out? Let's walk through it.
Mm-hmm.
Ambulance comes, picks him up. Now what? Who's planning the funeral? Do you have the money for it?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the kids going to go for? Are you even going to get the kids? Christmas would suck then. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm digging.
Right.
I want to know the fucking movie, bro. All you got was the surface level.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And
it's like if you get to that point, bro, and you probably could go through and ask at least 3, maybe up to 6 questions, just understanding. Now you're solving a problem.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And you're getting them to verbalize something they've never spoken about together.
Right.
Does that make sense? They've never sat down. Think about you and your wife previously. Like, did y'all ever sit down and map this shit out?
No.
No. Anybody on here probably hasn't. No
Most
one does
people
this
don't.
shit, dude. Because no one wants to talk about it. And everybody's okay that no one wants to talk about it. And that's why most agents don't make any money.
Right.
Because they're not digging. They just pass over that like no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want to know literally what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
How much money's in the
Makes
bank
sense.
account, Mary? How long
Yeah.
can you pay this bill without him? How quick will he stop receiving his check? Is your mom going to help pay the bill in the meantime? Who's going to hire the mover? Like, I want to know it all, dude. And the more emotional they get and the more they're in, the less I have to keep digging.
Right.
If they're nonchalant about it, I got to keep digging. You know how many times I've had people say like, can you please stop killing me? I'm good. I get it. Like, please,
And then
we're
they
dead.
buy
I
it.
got it. Like, dude, I've had
Right.
people stop me, bro. And I'm not like, I'm a little bit more aggressive with you about it because I know you,
Right.
but I'm very direct about the questions,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And worst case, I know people have fear of it. If someone's like,
Mhm.
what's with all the questions? I'm like, dude, I am trying to make sure your family's taken care of. Like, no
Mhm.
offense. If you don't care about this, I definitely don't care. I'm good either way.
Right.
I would tell clients that I'm covered. And I would be like, dude, I get paid whether you buy this or not. Because I truly believe that. I believe with activity, I get paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this isn't for
Uh-huh.
me. This is for you. And I'm never going to be here again. And the reality is, you probably don't want to keep doing this. Like, how many people like me do you want to have in your house?
Right.
You ever ask a client that when they're like, I'm like, you really want to keep doing this shit? They'll be like, no. I'm like, well, me either. So can we just get it done now?
Right.
Like, it's just being honest with people, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And not having a fear of going down a road that you have a fear of going down in your own life.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
So,
hard,
so would
dude.
you let me because this thing is shaped up like it was going to lay down, right? You know what I mean? Like it is shaped up, and I didn't do any of that before because I didn't have any stopping blocks that I found up until then. So, would that be
Yeah.
something you would build in before all the time, or would it be when they came back with a little smoke screen like what that? I've never even thought to go down that road before, honestly.
I mean,
like what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know. I don't understand how you don't go down that road every appointment, to be honest.
I'm going to now. Shit. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never really thought of it that way. Be like, okay,
Yeah, I mean,
because it
again,
just
our job is to solve a problem, like a
right.
literal problem, not a concept problem. You're solving
I felt
concept problem.
right,
And
right,
fair to say, I love you, dude. You ain't selling 40 grand a month.
right. No, I know that's the thing.
Correct. This is
And
why.
right.
You
I've
have
never
a
thought of it
decent
that
amount of
way.
activity.
Right.
You do have decent activity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, and you're relatively consistent in your activity.
Mm-hmm.
You go through phases, like, but I mean, I hear worse every day, so you're not in that boat.
Right.
You know, but your whole world will change if you actually start understanding what the picture looks like for someone, dude, and what your product's actually doing.
Right.
You know, and
I've
again, for
never
me, a
thought of
lay
it that
down,
way.
certainly
Yeah.
I've taken them, but
Right.
it's so few. And like, if they have, again, I'm speaking in home terms now
Right.
because I had visual cues. They got a fucking checkbook on their kitchen table when I get there.
Yeah.
I
Right.
probably don't have to dig quite as much as someone else. But again, dude, after so many reps, I have way more reps in my bag than you do currently.
Right.
I just don't believe that as new as you are to the industry, you know how to read when it's a true laydown yet.
Right. Well, I
Does that
mean,
make sense?
no, absolutely.
It comes
you
with
know,
time.
right. Well, like that was the early one last night, the one we were texting about. The guy's like, "Hey, I'm here with my wife and my mom, and we all want life insurance. Here we are." And like, so to me, and I still went through my process with that.
So
right?
that's the
like,
same for me as everyone on here that wants to make $1 million. But how many people are actually going to fucking do the shit?
Exactly.
It's the same thing, dude. Everyone wants insurance, but who's willing to pay for it? Right. And all that happens, the mistake that happens is, in your client's situation, they have their mortgage payment and their car payment and their insurance and their food and their utilities and then Christmas shopping and then this and then Mexican food and then movies. And then can I squeeze in insurance at the bottom?
And none of them can. Right.
No, that's not true.
Right.
None of them are, because you're not adding enough value or urgency to the situation. All I did was make them shift from insurance fitting in here to we're going to fit insurance in up here and something else is going to fall off.
Right.
Like you can't even does it make sense? Like in your, you can take this. So for those that don't know, I know, Brian, we talk every day. I don't want to sound like super rude, but I don't know how to say it without sounding super rude.
Say it. Dude, fucking say it. It's fine.
Because I struggled with this, dude. So I'm going to put it on me. When I was at your stage, I did such a poor job that I couldn't get insurance above eating fucking Mexican twice a week.
I lost to Santa Claus. Like, I know.
Correct.
Thank you. That's the thing. And I felt like shit. I was like, I didn't do something right. And and in my mind, I was like,
You just didn't create enough urgency, and you didn't create
Right.
urgency because you didn't get them to uncover to you how bad the
Right.
problem is.
Right. And this has changed my entire outlook on this whole thing, because it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, John. Like, because I was sitting there, I was like, man, I did not serve this family properly, because it made all the sense until they dug in and were sort of like, well, and I didn't do it right. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Tab, you're on here, bro. You are definitely getting $1 million. Where are you at? I don't even see you on here. Are you hiding? Or am I got too many people on video? I probably got to go to another page. Oh shit, we got a ton more on video.
I was laying a kid down to bed.
Oh, there you go. All right, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. You're definitely
Little
hitting
man's
$1 million.
napping. I'm going higher than $1 million, but I'm gonna get there.
I love it. I love it. Anything you want to add to that, or I do pretty good?
No, that's good. It was a good reminder for me. I think there's probably a couple of appointments I've ran this week where I didn't paint the full picture.
Yeah.
So
I see your question, Ramsey. Give me a second. I'm gonna share this thing since you're on here, Tab, with some people. Do you care if I share that message you sent me the other day?
no, the one on WhatsApp.
The one in WhatsApp? Yeah. Do you give a shit?
No problem.
Okay.
No.
Hold on. What up, y'all? Officially releasing my book. You can go on and order it now at johnwetmore.com or click the link below. It's where I go over the 6 basic principles I implemented to go from a struggling agent for my first couple years to issuing nearly $500,000 a my own pen. Go through stories and examples and exercises that you can do to implement for yourself. Appreciate it. Again, johnwetmore.com. Get yours. Later. So check this out. So Tab, it's a cool story. I've talked about him a little bit for those that have been around. Can y'all see that? It's on my screen. It's a little blocked, but it's because I got shit in the way. Can y'all read that?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Oh, thank you for who said yes. That was better than a thumbs up. It's a cool message. He sent me. So he's in my coaching program. Again, I can reiterate, but literally a dude was about to quit. What, 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months, 6 months ago, whatever it is.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah. Literally sent me a cold DM. Didn't know him from a hole in the wall. Started working together. Fair to say you'll triple your income next year.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
if not more.
This thing is not deep. You know, he's one of the most coachable people I work with. Took a minute to have some confidence. Fair. But we just keep working on stuff.
Really,
working on stuff.
probably
working on stuff.
3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
we had that. We had our one-on-one.
It's true. Yeah. You know, it's like, dude reached out to me. I'm like, and I think you were the first. Finally, I was like, damn, I should probably create a coaching because people keep asking. I always can say no. But yeah, so Tab's been with me for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months doing this thing. Officially, unofficially, we did it for a month. Put him on went from, would you issue 100 grand in 7 months, and now you've issued 110 in 3 months? Or 3? Is it 3? August, September,
3.
October.
Yeah, 3.5.
Now the goals, and we're tracking for 150 grand paid from November. What's the date to February? Is it February 1st?
We did last week, October through February 1st. Yep.
Yeah. So 3 months, 90 days, 150 grand. You know, and he's just using and implementing all the things I teach. But we talk on a regular basis in the coaching program. We tweak and adjust things, and you know, it's cool to see what you're doing, dude. Because I do this for stories like this, and it's funny every once in a while. Some random dude from the middle of nowhere hits me up, and it works out. You know, and then people I know and work with or see or talk to on a regular basis don't listen to anything and wonder why they're not winning. And I'm like, this is not deep. Oh, I see what Veronica, is that the Do More shirt? Hell yeah. I love it. There we go. That's a good one. I'm a fan of that one. I think Reese made that one. Isn't that the one y'all surprised me with? I think that was the one I didn't get to.
It is, yeah.
Input. Yeah. I like that one. My
It's
team
comfy.
made that one. It's good. They're supposed to be. You know why they're comfy? Because I made them for me. I swear to God. Like, I made the merch for myself. I'm like a merch guy. I always like fall for the Instagram ad with cool sayings. And I found this one company that I buy a lot of stuff from. Back, what's it called, man? Backbone, something like that. I get them all from. The determined as fuck one I wear. Y'all see, I wear a lot of them on videos. And I'm super like particular about a lot of things, actually. But definitely shirts I wear, and I hate like cheap shirts. They drive me nuts. You put on some shirt and you get it, it's like cardboard putting it on, and then some shirts are like the most comfortable thing ever. And then I thought one day, I'm like, why do I wear all this other dude's merch? I have all kinds of stuff. I say, why don't I get my homework? And I had Amanda, I'm like, find this shirt. So the shirt, she figured it out, the place I buy merch from, and we just copied the brand they use and put it on there. And I started wearing my own shit. And then she was like, maybe we should make it available to people. And then people started asking for it. Now people buy it all the time. It's kind of cool. The DBAB shirt is everyone's favorite. I don't know if anybody here has that one, but that's the most requested one by far, which I was not expecting, but it definitely is. Ramsey, you got a question, dude?
Yeah, it's funny you said DBAB. I was gonna name my team DBAB Army. But
Are you?
yeah,
Let me find you on video. How do I? Oh, there you go. I see you, dude. Yeah. What's up, dude?
so not for nothing. If you guys are working with Wetmore, you guys have a great leader, first and foremost.
Say
Second,
again? I didn't hear you, bro. I'm sorry.
for whoever's on your team, I just want to let them know that you guys have a great leader that's very genuine as a person. Because you
Appreciate
kind
it,
of know
bro.
each other. Here's the thing for me, when I get into sales and everything with certain clients, right? Like
Mhm.
I read emotions and the psychology of how they're feeling and stuff. And sometimes I do push them at the end, like even after
Yeah.
numbers, like, oh, I still think about it or this and that. I still push them. And
Yeah, you
sometimes
should.
I'm not buying from you, Ramsey. Like, hey, I completely understand, but what would you do if this were to happen? They're like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm not buying today. And then I'm like, I completely understand, just respect. I'm just here doing my job, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
make it make sense to you. And then they'll hang up, whatever. But the next day they'll call me. But like I'm watching YouTube videos, sometimes I hear people and they're like, get more information at the end. And then, hey, when are you and your wife are gonna, get together? That
Yeah.
typically never works.
No, it
So
always never works.
yeah, they'll tell me like, hey, like, it's
Yeah.
not my wife, this, that, all the excuses. So just being
Yeah.
forceful every single time, right? With
I
it,
love
you
it, dude.
think? Yeah.
Like you
In a
may as well
genuine
go out
way.
with a bang and not in a mean kind of way. But it's like you got to understand, like, fair to say some of y'all don't have enough insurance and you know you don't have enough insurance on your own family and you're in the fucking business. Fair? Why do we do that? We're procrastinators by nature. Fair? You're sitting with procrastinators. It's not like they don't know they need insurance. It's not like they want to leave their family in a crappy situation. It's not like they don't want, again, maybe you sell health insurance, ACA, Medicare, whatever y'all sell. It's not like they know they need stuff. Just like y'all know you need to change to have a better result. No one's going to convince me that you guys are confused, that you don't work enough to be rich. You're never going to convince me that you don't know this. But why are you not changing? Because we're human and it's how we're wired. And some of us just know how to fight that better than others. Do you think I don't struggle with procrastinating or not wanting to do stuff? Or dude, we all struggle with it. But some of us fight it better, right? And so these clients are no different. They're just like you and me. They're procrastinators by default, And so a big part of this is when you uncover the problem, the next step is getting them to not procrastinate more because they by default want to. Hence, let me think. I want to think about it. Give me your card. I'll call you next Tuesday. I got to talk to my lawyer. I got to talk to my Aunt Susie's dog. All the stuff y'all buy. It's just a procrastination move. And so all Ramsey's saying is like, sometimes we can get them right to the edge. And y'all walk them right to the edge. But you're just unwilling to push them off. And if for nothing else, other than the pure exercise of getting you out of your own comfort zone, I challenge you to push some people this week. What's worst case? You didn't make a sale that you didn't make anyway? You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I challenge you to push some people. Just push them off the edge. And you'll see crazy things happen, and then you'll start getting people thank you for it. I mean, I have it in not only with clients. You know how often I get it with agents? As y'all know, y'all follow me. I'm really direct. People thank me every day for being direct. It's like people need challenged. We all need pushed. We all need, it's who we are, and the more you can understand that. I'll give you another example I used to do. Does anybody actually run in-home appointments in here anymore? Anybody actually go to kitchen tables? Literally
I did
not
a
one.
FIA one
Okay.
last.
Okay, cool. I don't know. I didn't see the second page. I know Tab runs some. Brandon, I don't know if he's in here. He runs some. But one of the things that used to happen a lot in-home, and maybe it happens, you can't quite do the same thing I'm going to give you now because you're virtual, but I just want to give you an example. And you can take the concept and make it apply. But in-home sales, and I'm sure, Andy, you can relate to this. You and your team have done it forever. But like, or have any of y'all, maybe you don't do it now, but you've done it in the past? That's probably a better question, because then you can probably relate to it. You get into a client's house and they have the TV blasting. You know, Oprah's on level 47, and all you hear is the TV blaring, and you're sitting in there trying to make a presentation, and all they're doing is paying attention to TV, and it's loud as shit. Like, who's been there? Now, if we were there today and you were telling me this, my challenge to you would be, next time you're in that situation, don't say nothing. You walk over and you grab the remote and you turn the TV off and say, sorry, that's messing me up. And you sit down. And so many people are so scared to do that. 100% of times I do it, you know what happens? Anybody ever done it?
I did over the phone. I told him to turn off the TV.
Yeah, telling them, fine. I'm saying in a house is to grab it and turn it off yourself, dude. And again, I like it. 100% of times they apologize. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh my God. They freak out and apologize. Most agents have a fear of doing it because they're afraid they're going to get yelled at or kicked out or whatever. Like, it's kind of rude, to be honest. to leave your TV on while I'm talking to you about insurance, I think is rude. You know, and I used to challenge agents. I'm like, I'm telling you, don't be an ass about it. If you're an ass about it, don't work. Just politely just turn the TV off. Be like, sorry, it's messing me up. I'm trying to focus on you guys. They will apologize. And just a simple exercise like that would get agents out of their comfort zone and go like, whoa, that turned out different than I thought. And it's the same concept here. When you're getting to the end and you're afraid to push people to make a decision, it's because you fear the outcome. And all I'm telling you is, those of us that do it, they'll thank you more often than not. You know, and then your mind will go like, whoa, what a holy crap. And you'll just see the world differently when you do this enough, you know? Cool. Any other questions? Anything? I feel like I saw some. I lost the little chat thing, Amanda. I don't know where it went. Somehow all I see is a list of names now. Oh, there it goes. Anybody have it? You can just unmute if you have a question. I've been guilty of doing apps while they watch TV. I'm turning the TV off next time. I like it, Vanessa. I think you will definitely do it.
Hey, John, there was someone, Courtney said something earlier on this. She said, starting this as part-time. I can't ask out loud because she's at work right now.
I like
wished
it.
she could be fully on. What are some tips for getting on into this part-time?
Cool. I'll answer it. Vanessa, go ahead. I'll answer. I'll have Vanessa ask first.
I was just saying that my agents are on here. They didn't change their name, so I don't know who said that, but there's
wait,
10
what?
Vanessas on right now.
Say again?
I just said there's 10 Vanessas on right now because they didn't change their name when they came on.
Oh, they logged in. I got it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see more. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's all good. So that wasn't you that actually typed that, is what you're saying.
I have a question for you though. If
go for
we're still
it.
doing Q&A.
Yeah, go for it.
First question is, around this time of year, we naturally do get a lot of clients who say, call me back after the holiday or just things like
I was hoping you asked this one. As soon as you started, I knew where this was going. I love it. Go ahead.
So I'm just curious how you kind of set that expectation up maybe beforehand, and then how you handle that if
yeah. You know why it messes agents up? Do you know the answer? Like why it messes agents up?
Because they might say the same thing.
Amen. That's why they aren't working, because it's the holidays. They're going to start after the holidays.
Right.
You're not wrong there. Yes. And it's because it's new and unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But you know what happens? The other objections that are like, I have soccer tomorrow, or I'm at church tomorrow, those go away. You know what I mean? It's just a new objection. It's just an objection. An objection is an objection. You know what I mean? They just freak out because it's new and they're not used to it. But it's wild how many of the other objections suddenly disappear because of the time of year. It's an easy out for agents or for clients to use on agents who are weak. You know what I mean? Now, again, if a client was gonna, if a client died during the holidays, would they ever go, we're just gonna wait till after January to have the funeral? Holidays is kind of busy. We're just not gonna do it. It'd be really dumb. Correct. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just teaching agents how to push through objections, period. You know,
do you ever use, because something I've used in the past is I'll say something along the lines of like prices increasing. Do you ever try to use that against them, or what are some things that you say? Like if someone says that to you,
I'll be honest. I'm not, and not to be me. I don't. For me, that feels a lot like people who use, we're not buying insurance today. We're just seeing if you're eligible.
Yeah.
Which we all know is horse shit. It's a weak close. I don't like that either. So if y'all use that, I apologize. But I think it's weak. You know, and it's not true. It's a complete total fucking lie. So I personally, I want to be stronger than that. So what I like to do is I like to like, what's the word I want to use? There's a really good word for it. I'm going to hit it before they do. Right. So one of my mentors used to teach me, when I was brand new, you know how I want to think about it when you get to pricing. So a way you can make that go away is you go, here's the pricing options. Why don't you all think about that for a minute and let me know which one you want to do? You just tell them to think about it before they can say they need to think about it. They stop saying, I want to think about it. It's the wildest thing ever. So on the phone, what we used to do is we'd be booking appointments and be like, hey, Vanessa, John, calling you about such and such. Da, 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 da. Hey, the holidays are crazy busy for us right now. There's so many people looking to get in with us that we're super tight, but I'm going to squeeze you in for about 30 minutes. What time do you get home tomorrow? And I would just say it before they do. And I would use it so busy that I have to get to you versus it's so busy during the holidays, I have to push it off. You know what I mean? I found that it felt better for me and it worked really good. You know what I mean? This time of year is so busy. We're just trying to squeeze everybody in. There's so many requests to get it in before the holiday. You know what I mean? And just that it flowed really good. So imagine it, because you agree it is horseshit. In fact, clients do less during the holidays. Most people watch more TV and sit on the couch more during the holidays. And no offense, everybody's shopping on Amazon for Christmas today. You know what I mean? There's very little actually happening. So it's an easy objection when you understand how weak of an objection it is. You know, so I just kind of front loaded it and found that better. I've seen people do what you say, and it does work too. I don't like it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'd rather be better than, I don't know. I just think there's a better way to do it. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Versus kind of guilting them into it, or, you know what I mean? I'd rather, I don't know. So I like doing it that way better.
Cool. Good feedback.
And to be honest, a lot of times it's the approach of the agent that brings those on. They're timid, they have fears, they're kind of bumbling around, worried if they're going to be available, you know, and you know us well enough, and people I've worked with, like, dude, we go run appointments and make phone calls on holidays, much less holidays like the time of year I can't work. Dude, we're working on the holiday. You know, a lot of people have a mental block with that too. So you work holidays? I'm like, yeah, what do you do? Watch football. Oh, you mean the football players that are working on a fucking holiday? You know what I mean? The gas station you go to that's open on the holiday? Dollar General to go pick up your cranberry sauce that you forgot is open on the holiday. You're okay with them working on a holiday. But suddenly you can't work on a holiday because what? You know what I mean? Like there's just weird mental blocks around it. So for me, is learning how to really stop people from overthinking. That did really well for us. It's like, and giving examples and analogies like I just did, it's like, why is there a block? So I'd blame the agent way more than the client on their approach being more timid to book during that time, you know? And that just comes with confidence and belief level and telling stories and giving examples and things like that. Let's see. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
You need any clarity there?
Okay.
You good? Cool. Let's see. Courtney, starting this part-time. I can't ask out loud as I'm at my full-time job right now. Courtney, you still on? If not, we're recording it. We'll send it to her. You don't have to talk. I'm just curious if you're actually still here.
She just said yeah.
Dope. Thank you. I assume you're licensed. I'll assume that. So I started part-time in the business, and early on, I was booking appointments during my lunch break on my job, and I was doing recruiting calls on my commute to and from my job. So in 2012, all the way through mid 2013, I was doing accounting while I did this. So I can relate very closely. I think in the book, I talk about the schedule that I ran. I'll give it to you certainly loosely now, but any schedule works. What I would suggest is, one, do you have a family? I have so many questions, but I'm gonna be very vague because I know you're working.
Well, she said
It
she's
states
licensed
yes on a
maintenance.
family. Cool.
Yes.
So one, the first thing I would tell you is it's going to be harder at the beginning because you now have to figure out how to add this to your current schedule, which if you have family is probably already somewhat chaotic. So your mom, by family, I assume you mean kids, husband, you mean like a lot of obligations typically. So in order to add this, and again, I'm speaking pretty generically, but if you're the average mom who, tends to take care of most things in their kids and husband's life, adding this to it is going to be a little bit of a burden to your schedule. So you're going to have to be like neurotic about your schedule and planning it in advance with your family. So everybody's on the same page. Kids are going to have to understand it. I don't know if you're the type that has mom guilt or not. Some do, some don't. You know what I mean? Like the reality is if you do, you're going to have to figure out how to get past that, at least for a temporary period of time. Perfect. I love your answer. So, it's going to have to be a neurotic. Is it like a 9 to 5 type schedule? Pretty standard, or is it crazy hours? Because that matters too. 8 to 6. Cool. You open weekends to work? Perfect. So I'll tell you what I did and I'll tell you what I learned. The way I did it, I had a quote unquote 9 to 5, but I worked an earlier schedule. I could go in at 7 and leave at 4. So I had a little more leeway to run appointments in the evening. So I made phone calls on Sundays and I booked appointments for Monday and Tuesday nights after work. And then I would make phone calls at my job on Thursday and Friday, and I would run appointments on Saturdays. And I'd run maybe 2 or 3 appointments on Monday and Tuesday nights. And I'd run, maybe a half day, maybe a little bit past, 4, 5, 6 appointments on a Saturday. And it worked pretty well. I made 60 grand my first year. I was only making 40 grand on my job. So I did well. I didn't kill it, but I've never not made money in this business. I was never the guy that didn't make money. I've always made money since the day I started in this business. I didn't always kill it, but you never hear me say I wasn't profitable. I've never been that agent. What I did too, that I think is super important, is I opened a separate bank account that was specifically for insurance, and every penny from insurance went into that separate bank account. And I didn't spend the money on anything but leads. And my goal was to stockpile 6 months of income. So I felt comfortable quitting. I had 5 kids at the time. I still have 5 kids, but I had 5, and my youngest was like 9 months old. So I had a fear too, because I had lost things before I was in the mortgage business and like handled it like crap. And I had 2 houses taken away, and a car repoed, bankruptcy. Like I had fear getting into this. So the fear was, if I save up 6 months of income, I don't think I'm so bad that I'm going to ever not make a sale for 6 months. But that's where my head was. I needed to have that kind of cushion. So I'm like, if I don't make a sale for 6 months, I can pay my bills. Like that's how unconfident I was. But separate account. Only thing I bought out of that account was leads. In 12 months, I had like 30 something grand saved up in that account, and I walked away. Right before I left, I used like a week or 2, I don't remember how long, of vacation time. And I ran the schedule as if I was going to be full time. So I knew what it would feel like. What I wish I did, looking back on it, is I wish I put more emphasis on running as close to a full-time schedule as I could on the days I could run. Because running 2 or 3 appointments in a day, most people can't handle. Because more often than not, I didn't even get to make a presentation, much less make a sale. So I wish, looking back on it, the only tweak I would have made is I would have run full-time on the weekend. I would have picked weekends, and I'd have run 20 something appointments on Saturday, Sunday. So I could catch momentum. I could see a bunch of people. I was more likely to make a sale because I'd see 6, 8, 10, 12 people versus 0 or 1, and I could understand, at least in that moment, what the business would feel like on a full-time basis. you know, and if you can run all weekend, you can run, if you're doing telesales, hell, you still on Tab? I'll say it for you if you're not. He might have got off because he
I'm
runs
here.
like 9. Yeah. Hey,
I'm
tell
here.
him how many appointments you run a day. Telesales.
I mean, on average, I schedule because
Yep.
I'm not gonna. I'm
Scheduled.
not gonna.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Schedule a day.
schedule between 14 and 16 a day.
So call it 15 scheduled telesales appointments a day. And what's the frequency in which you book them? How often did we come up with?
Every 30
how
minutes.
often? Every 30 minutes, 15 a day. He does it like clockwork. That's the schedule I would run. When I was in, and the reason we came up with that, a lot of people struggle with this, is because most of you guys book appointments as if everyone's going to be there, knowing full well they're not all going to be there. And so what I had to teach Tab was like, and he was doing this somewhat before we met, but he really understands it now. It's like, why don't we book the appointments like they're not going to be there? Because statistically, what, half don't show up? Telesales Tab? Is that a fair number?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay, so if you're booking
30
30 minutes apart and half don't show up, you're by default now an hour apart. If you're booking an hour apart because you're like, well, my presentation takes an hour, and now you're booking an hour or 2 hours apart, and you know half aren't going to be there. Now sometimes you got 2, 3, 4 hour gaps between appointments. You get back-to-back no-shows. You might sit 5, 6 hours without seeing it. It's terrible. You know what I mean? So I want the feeling of that. And worst case scenario, what happens, Tab? You get 4 people in a row that show up. Worst case, what happens?
Then someone, if they're that interested in coverage, they're going to reschedule and be okay with it. And then you know that the person who reschedules is almost like an automatic sale.
Yeah.
Because you know they're that interested in it.
Yeah. Worst case, you reschedule some people. Who cares? They reschedule you without thinking about it. You could reschedule others without thinking, right? So it's the approach that's important. So Courtney, it's like the more you can feel like full-time, even in the little windows, even though you're part-time, pick little windows, and in that window, make it feel full-time. Don't limp in. Don't go like, I'm going to run on Saturday. I'm going to see 2 people. It will be brutally painful. And some people do that. They're full-time and they do that shit. I saw, did you pay attention, Tab, to everyone's face when you said 15 a day?
I didn't see it. No, because I'm on my
looked
phone.
Like they all had, like, I almost said something really bad. Their face was like, they didn't believe, like, oh my God, how do they do that? Like they want to throw up in their mouth kind of face, you know, but to me and you, it's normal. And once you get used to a cadence, it's not that difficult, you know? But now at the same time, when I was like, hey, you get back-to-back no-shows or someone doesn't, and you go 2, 3, 4, 5 hours without seeing someone, everyone nodded their head. They all feel that. So why are we not adapting? You know what I mean? Why do we accept that that's the norm? Why don't we just set up our schedule the way we do? He's making I'm going to answer his Tad. His answer is going to be as many as it takes. That's how many dials he makes.
Leads or dials?
Dials.
Because the answer to both is as many as it takes. Honestly.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And to be clear, he's calling like 2, 3-year-old mortgage leads. It's not like he's buying magic leads. He's buying the leads that y'all say suck. Straight up.
I wrote 2 apps today off of mortgages from 2021 that my kids printed out and mailed back to the client for me.
Yeah, I love it. You know, and this is stuff we just work on. You know what I mean? There's so many tweaks to make. But what I love about working with you and some of the others, Andy's in here. I'm working with some of his team. One of your guys messaged me this morning. The same dude, Lou. Lou? Is that the name, Amanda? Am I messing up his name? I told you this morning. You laughing at me? Or are you ignoring me? What's dude's name?
Sorry, what did you say?
What's the dude that DM me? Is it Lou, ain't it? Lou? Am I making it up? Yeah, on Andy's team.
Oh, yeah, Lou. Sorry.
Lou, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, send me the coolest message today. You know what I mean? Just like so grateful, dude. And so coach, like I just love that piece. Because this business is not deep. But fair to say you've been challenged, Tab. Pushed out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Andy's schedule 100%. Right now. I wish you could show it, Amanda. I don't have confidence he can show it. So I'm going to say it'd be cool if you could show it. But we got him getting, I don't know, an interview, recruiting interview every 15 minutes for like 9 straight hours. I mean, he's got 30 interviews, 40, 50 interviews a day piled on his calendar. Like this business is really easy when you understand how to run it. So one of the things that I'll kind of end with, I might open up for another questions, but if anybody does have interest, because people always ask after these calls, they always reach out. People message me on the website and social all the time. Certainly I do have a coaching program. It is paid. If you have interest in that, certainly my team I think you're going to post a link. Is that what y'all are going to do? Is that what we decided? I know I told you I was ready, and I don't always remember what I said I would do. I think you want me to show this thing. Yeah. Can you all see that? I do have a couple different options if you want to do it. If you don't, this is no pressure. I don't care if you do it or not, because quite frankly, I'm making money either way, but I do like helping people. I can only do free stuff so often. I do love helping people, but my time is pretty freaking valuable. And Tab was one of the first ones that reached out, and he's having crazy success. Andy, I've known for a long time, 12 years plus, been in the industry with and working with him and his team on growing. A couple different options if you're interested. What do you want them? Are you going to post a link, Amanda, if they're interested? Is that what's happening? Cool. If you have interest in it, and just being, sometimes I don't know how to say things without sounding rude. I don't have a coaching program for people that have no money other than the free stuff I give away nonstop. This is the best I can do, one-on-one or small groups. There's only so much I can give away. So this is for people that are like actually serious, really want to get to a new level, are not afraid to invest in themselves, are committed to making changes, want to be challenged, want to be given direction, want to be, if you don't win in our group, I call you out. I'm just being real. Like we have a snowflake award for people who don't work when they say they will. It's kind of internal joke between some of us, but like, I'm not looking for people who want to mess around. And I have two different options. You have a one-on-one option or a small group. I put people in groups of like 4 to 6. Common sense probably says that one-on-one is significantly more expensive than a group. But I made a group available for those that need it. But quite frankly, it's also not cheap. It's not $99. I promise you that. You do have to make an investment, but again, my goal is to take someone like a Tab and teach them how to go from making $8,000 a month to 30 a month. And then more, because we hadn't even started working on building a team with him yet. We're not there yet. So this is an option. We do some cool stuff. We do initial strategy calls. So we literally sit down and plan out what do you want out of this business? What are you trying to accomplish? Work with your schedule, work with your goals, and literally put things in place. Like, here's A, B, C, D, what you have to do for this coming month. Either way, whether you do a group or one-on-one, there's an initial one-on-one call. If it's one-on-one, then we meet pretty regularly one-on-one. We do a monthly strategy call, but throughout the week, I help with Andy's on the one-on-one side. And I work with his team. I do all kinds of shit with him and his team. On the group one, it's, again, we do a monthly group call, and then I do typically 2, maybe 3 extra times a month. It's typically 2 extra. It says weekly, but it's usually every like 10 days or so. Do like a mindset call, a little check-in, ask questions. Again, small group setting. We have a chat, and my team behind the scenes that's built everything with me helps work with you guys. We do all kinds of automations and crazy stuff. And we include all kinds of other crap, as you can see. But at its core, if any of y'all are looking for actual help growing your business, your sales, your team, feel free. Again, they put in a link, fill it out. And if it seems like it'd be a good fit, I'll reach out personally and have a conversation with you to see if it makes any sense. If not, if it's not for you, all good. I'll always continue to do the semi. What do we do? These like when do we know when the next one of these are, Amanda?
Every 6 weeks or so. We have not.
You haven't scheduled yet or no? You haven't scheduled it yet? Okay, cool. We'll set it up. But I usually do these every 6 or 8 weeks or whatever, depending on my schedule. I'll continue to do them. I'll continue to put out content for everybody who follows me. And appreciate those of you that do reach out, message, and share everything we got going on. It does fill my tank to help people figure this business out. But there is only so much I can do for free. So if you're interested in a paid coaching program, reach out to us. Otherwise, we'll email out the goals and schedule exercise shortly. My team's going to send it out later today. You'll get it automatically. If for some reason they don't get it, send an email like by tomorrow, not in the next 5 minutes, but if by tomorrow somehow you didn't get an email from us, which you should get because you all got this, just send an email to that same jw@johnwetmore.com and just go like, hey, I didn't get it. Check your spam first. And if you didn't get it, let me know. And unless someone has anything else major or any questions that I can answer before I'm good. But if anybody was dying to get in and I cut you off, feel free I'll take one more question if someone has anything. Everybody's good. Cool. I appreciate you guys getting on. Keep killing it. I hope you make some changes, and please let me know if I can help. Talk to y'all soon. Later.